GD109 Introduction to Sections and Elevations with Duncan Heather. So what is a section? The easiest way for me to describe what a section is to imagine a Victoria sponge cake, but seen from above. The question is, however, how do I know it's a Victoria sponge? The truth is, I don't. All I can see is the top sponge layer. In order to find out what sort of cake it is, I need to see the filling inside. If I cut the cake in half and remove half, then gradually turn the cake through 90 degrees, I can begin to see the filling. When I've completely turned the cake at 90 degrees, I can now see the two layers of sponge, the jam and the cream, but I can't see the top and the bottom of the cake. This is said to be a pure section. A slice through to show just the cut line, nothing in front, nothing behind. So what is the difference between a section and a section elevation? Well, a section shows only the information contained on the cut line, while the section elevation shows not only the cut line, but also the information contained behind the cut line, such as buildings, plants, walls, etc. So why is this useful in landscape design? In landscape terms, sections help the designer visualize the shape of the garden and the slope, if any, of the land. If the plot is steeply sloping, often a designer will take several slices through the site to show a detailed profile of what the garden is doing in terms of the overall levels that may affect the design. Sections are a vital design tool for the garden designer. They should always be used in conjunction with the creation of the garden plan to make sure all the levels changes are taken account of at the initial planning stage. All too often, sections are used as part of the sales tool, used to help sell the plans to the client. But it's vital that the designer understands levels before they start the planning stage of the design process, and therefore before you start designing, you should always draw out a section of the site. It should never be underestimated how difficult some clients find it to understand a two-dimensional flat sketch plan. Even the contractors who are used to reading plans need more information than just a floor plan before they can quote or build the garden. Plans only ever show the ground plane. You have no idea whether the site is flat or indeed steeply sloping. Understanding the approximate levels before you begin is vital if the plan has any chance of working. You don't need to know exactly the heights, but an understanding of whereabouts in the garden the land rises and falls will at least permit the designer to add steps and retaining walls where required, even if they don't know their precise heights. In this Chelsea Flower Show garden, designed by John Brooks for the Financial Times in 1971, the ground slopes from front to back, from the bottom right-hand corner to the top left-hand corner. A trained designer will spot the fact that there are two distinct levels, divided by a retaining wall with two flights of steps, one to the left-hand side, and one to the right. Two section elevation cuts have been taken with this plan to help illustrate the change of levels. Line AB and line CD. Line CD is the easiest to understand as it clearly shows the two levels, the position of the wall as well as the depth of the pond. You can tell from the section elevation that the pond is deeper at the wall end and slopes upwards to the planting to create a beach effect. Sections can be used to show both the height and the depths, such as trees and ponds. If you have access to the architect's drawing, you can use these to help draw in the buildings and then add the trees and the planting to the foreground. So how do we create a section? First, take your site survey and decide where the most useful cut lines are to be taken from. Remember, you can take as many sections from your drawing as necessary. Here, we'll use section BB. The triangles below indicate which direction the section is facing. Underneath the survey, I'm going to draw a line which will represent my soil level. Next, I'll project down the side walls from my survey onto my baseline. Now, using my scale rule, I'll measure 2 meters at a scale of 1 to 50, which is the scale of the plan, from my baseline and draw in my side walls. Remembering that because I'm cutting through the walls, I'll also be showing their thickness. As this is a section elevation, I'll also be drawing in my back wall. Next, I will project down all the points behind the cut line I want to show in my section elevation. Having done this, I will now use my scale rule to mark off the heights and depths of the features behind my cut line and draw them in to my section below. As the designer, I will decide what looks best in terms of scale and height. When we come on to SketchUp in a couple of weeks' time, we will find this decision-making process much easier and quicker when using computer modelling. Study the following examples. Try and work out how the following sections work with the plan view. Stop the tape if necessary and analyse the drawings step by step. The first section is taken from the end of the wall courtyard and shows the wall, the indoor swimming pool behind, which is screened by 3 trees, and the entrance to the pergola on the left-hand side. In the next section, you'll see section BB, which looks back at the house and the indoor swimming pool. The indoor swimming pool is not attractive, but is linked through with a path, and here we can see that there is stone balustrade in front of the pool and also a stone pergola with an entrance to the garden in the centre with 2 steps down. Finally, the last section shows the walled courtyard garden looking back from the house. Here you can see the wall, the planting, the raised beds, 2 trees behind the wall, and the gate into the back garden. The last 10 plans are from John Brooks, with designs ranging from the late 1960s to the 1990s. Study these not just for the elevations, but look and learn from the designs themselves and see a true master at work.